I personally have a passion point for people accomplishing work in the way they feel led to with their student in front of them. Like you mentioned, kids are so different. I say a lot. I have 4 different kids. I could pick 4 different language arts curriculums based off of how their brain works and how they're going to learn to read. But at the end of the day, it makes more sense for me to know a book and understand what the concept is asking and then teach in the way they're going to learn.
Blessings, folks. Welcome back to another episode of the Hitstreak. I'm your man, Nick Hyder. And folks, I've got an extra special treat joining me in the Hit Lab today. I am so excited. This one's been a long time coming. We were so excited to have our guest today, who really needs no introduction, but we're going to give her a great one anyways, right? So check it out. This young lady sitting across from us today literally not only changed our life, but 600 other Middle Tennessee families' lives when she made her impact, let's just say, right? So folks, help me welcome the founder of Vine Christian Academy, Amanda Auer. Amanda, how are we doing today?
Thank you so much, Nick. I'm excited to be here and talk alternative education, which is known as homeschooling for a lot of people. Glad I finally made it in the studio after last time having to cancel because of a babysitter issue. #homeschooling, right? But I'm here and I'm excited to be here.
Well, and you just absolutely crushed that right out of the gates, right? So we're working with a pro today, baby. So that was fantastic. And a very special treat. She makes everything better whenever she shows up. I got my bride, my queen, is my co-host today, Rhiannon and Amanda. Riri, how are we doing today, girl?
I am doing well. I am excited to be here and to be a fly on the wall and participate in some of these awesome conversations in homeschooling.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, check it out. So here's the goal today, folks. We're telling a fantastic story, and I'm amazed at how many people that we come across with are still learning about what we're talking about today, and how it's just grown so much in the last 5 years. It's changed the landscape of education in a good way. And my goal is to get things rocking, and I'm just going to turn y'all ladies loose. That sound good?
Sounds great.
Rock and roll. Awesome. So Vine Christian Academy. Our son Ethan is a 9th grader there. It's his third year there, second year there?
I lost count.
I know it's so hard to keep up. When you're having a good time, things just move, right? They just move. So Vine Christian Academy is it's a hybrid school, and I'm just going to read the tagline, and Amanda, I'm going to turn it over to you. So I love this. It's partnering parents and educators together for student success. It's a homeschooling hybrid experience. Okay, so there's homeschool, and I guess there's in school.
Yeah,
hybrid school. Let's talk about hybrid school a little bit.
Yeah. So, our campus is 2 days a week, 2 days in a classroom setting for kids, and then 3 days at home. We do have an option for a third day, which is elective based. But if you're talking about the 5 core subjects, which we count Bible as a core subject, we're only on campus 2 days a week. That's why we mentioned the parent partnership. It's really important to us to have invested families, people that want to peek under the hood, right, of education, to know what their kids are learning in these books, to have conversations and connection with their teachers, to have a relationship where you're invited into the experience. And unfortunately, a lot of the 5-day full-time settings are not doing that. I don't know if it's intentional or if it's just progress with education, but it seems like for a lot of families, especially post 2020, when everything kind of got weird with schooling and virtual school, it just wasn't meeting the need anymore. And a lot of people started to ask questions that they wanted answers to, but maybe couldn't get. So our whole philosophy is really based around, this is how we partner parents who maybe feel called to homeschool, but homeschooling is a huge step. You step in, you don't know what to do. You don't have an educator background. I don't have an educator background. You want someone to tell you what to do. I started homeschooling 8 years ago, and I was like, someone needs to tell me what the heck to do each day, because I don't want to be responsible for that too. And also the character of my students or how hard they work. There's a lot of things I can lean into as a non-educator, background. I didn't want to also have to pick the books. So this has been a great model for me on my end. And I think it's proving to be a great model for a lot of other families too.
Absolutely. I can only speak to how it's impacted our family and our life. And I'm really excited to get to hear some other perspectives because we're, every person's 100% unique and every family's 100% unique.
Yeah.
And every family's needs are 100% unique. And sometimes things can get too cookie cutter for us. I came up through the local public school system here, And it's not the same. And back then, I feel like leadership was just at a maybe a higher level. Not knocking anybody, it just is what it is. Like the reason that we're here today, it speaks for itself, right? So thank you for doing for doing this. And I mean, let's just get right into it. Like, how in the world do you even start a school? Like, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? Like, Rhiannon and I even talked about that at one point in time. Was that a dream of ours? How is it? Would we started to be involved? And then it's like, wow, that's a big bite to take off, right? So how do you start a school?
So technically we're a nonprofit and we're an education center, but we don't hold the records. So we don't have to report at the state level for any of the students. I think that is a really sweet spot for us. We get to kind of put back on the parents. You guys are home educators. And so we kind of take off that extra layer of stress. In terms of starting the campus, before Vine was an independent community, we were part of a national program. And it started with me just sending an email in desperation. We were part of this program back in California that had kind of 20 years of refinement under its belt of what does it look like to be in a 2-day setting. They never tackled the older grades, though. We did that together out here. And, like I mentioned, I was a mom looking for some type of different alternative for my oldest child. And I felt backed into a corner because I didn't like what was happening in California with the education system looking the way it did. And I think that there's a little bit of spirit of rebellion in me. Don't tell me what to do with my people.
Yeah,
the idea that I can't take a vacation when I want with my children was like rubbed me the wrong way. That's not a great thing. But it is a true thing. And so, we found this model and we kind of settled into it. And I thought it was part of what we were leaving behind back in California. We moved here almost 5 years ago now. So I thought this was something that I was supposed to lay down. And we talked about private school or public school here because the county has such great schools. But at the end of the day, it just felt like a sacrifice we weren't supposed to make. So we had walked out of a kind of messy season with one of our daughters and our family was in a recovery mode when we came here. And we just wanted to keep this consistent 2-day-a-week experience. And there wasn't really anything that felt similar covering these core subjects, focusing on community, focusing on the faith element that fit the bill. And so I was like, it's one of those, you raise your hand and say, here I am, send me.
Wow. I mean, how bad does it have to be when people start? I mean, so think about it. The education system's been around for decades, if not 100 years. Coming up, my parents would have never, they didn't question anything about it. It was, how bad does it have to be when enough is enough that this starts happening? Because hybrid schools are starting to pop up. They're starting to become more common, right? So Riri, you're the boss when it comes to this stuff. You're all the real information, and you're the one that is the relationship between our family and the school and the state. So let me get your perspective for just a moment, if we should, right? So talk to me a little bit about our experience, and you can even tell why we made the change to leave the school system to do what we're doing today.
Yeah, our experience was, I never in a million years would I want to be my child's teacher until we were forced to do online school. It seriously lasted for 1 hour, and I said, no, we're not doing it. I don't care if you go to school, if they knock on my door and tell me that, they're taking me to jail. Like we have got to take some time to figure out what's best for us. We had just found out we were pregnant, and it was not a good fit. And so we decided, honestly, at the time we were also moving different counties to get into a better county school. And then a hybrid school popped up. We got into that school, and it only went up to a certain grade level. And so we're like, okay, now what? And then that's when we got introduced to Heart Christian, the one from, can I say that?
Yeah,
okay.
California.
I just want to make sure it was Heart Christian. And that's where we started Ethan mid 7th grade. And then, once it developed into Vine, and it gives us back so much time. And not to have, like you said, someone telling me I can't go on vacation. I remember we went for 10 days on vacation because we were remodeling our house. So I was like, well, we got to move out. Let's move to the beach for 10 days. Yeah. And it was like I was getting all of these truancy things. Like, what? Like, this was what was best for our family. He still did the work. And over time, and to me, the faith is at my core what I like. That's a no-brainer for me. Like, I don't want him just learning about faith on Sundays at church and at home when we fit it in. I want it to be a part of his everyday curriculum. And that just, it all just fell into place just beautifully. And I love what Vine does and stands for. And my son, I think he might be the mayor of the high school, because every time I pick him up, it's like, Ethan. And just to see him so happy and to love it, it's truly what parents thrive. That's how our family thrives and what we look for. So job well done.
Absolutely. And it's a really cool, like, it's a really cool experience when, so like we get, every year we ask Ethan, like, do you want to stay? Do you want to go to the big high school? You know, he gets to choose. And it's funny, if you ask a lot of the kids at the big high school if they want to stay, the answer is no.
Yeah.
Ethan's answer every year is no, I don't want to go. I want to stay there. So it's literally like, even he has a say in his life, which is huge at 15 to start taking responsibility. And at the end of the day, I think that there's the two greatest things we can teach our kids is one, to know and love Jesus Christ, and number two, how to make good choices that are in their best interest for what it is they want to do.
Absolutely.
If we do those two things, we win, right? So, all right. So talk to me about year one. All right, because it's grown tons. It continues to grow. You guys have pretty much outgrown the current space you're in today, which is a big space. I mean, like, if a business grew that fast, you'd be on the daggum NASDAQ, you know? So talk to me about year one and the journey and you've got to, and like, what do you kind of see for the future?
Yeah. I mean, when I opened the campus, I opened it with 50 kids back in 2020, halfway through the COVID year. And by the time we only hosted that spring semester, January to May. And by the time we got to the next September, we were at 300 kids. So we've just kind of seen that trajectory every year of this snowball of momentum. Originally, we only hosted through 5th grade. Then we're like, okay, we'll rise through 8th grade. And then we knew, I always put this through the lens of myself. It's very selfishly based in a lot of ways because I'm like, I got to have a place for my kid to go. Right now she's 7th grade. How do we create a thriving homeschool program that goes all the way up through high school? And like you said, we really cater to kids who want to get to know themselves, want to get to spend time on their personal interests, develop those things. It's like giving them a better start out of the gate because they have this free time that, as a parent, you're like, well, it's not just going to be screen time, right? Like, let's make it productive. Let's do something that you're interested in. And they get to explore more. They just simply have more time to be themselves that will allow them to step into wherever they go next a little bit stronger. I'm very, very grateful. We had a lot of resources as a team. I really looked for people who, because I started this without any specific qualifications, I'm like, if people feel like they can tackle, teaching in the classroom or becoming our education director, she has education background. She's a classroom teacher, but like I said, I'm not interested in the books. I'm interested in the culture. I'm interested in the community. And so we've had all these kind of organic opportunities where people can rise up and be involved and make it a better Vine. And one of the things I'm the most aware of is that this year is going to look different than next year is going to look different than next year because of the people we have in the community, right? Like, our field trip coordinator is fantastic at picking field trips, but she focuses on the younger grades because her student's a younger grade. And so now we have this social committee of students at the upper grade campus level. And we're like, what do you guys want? Like, what events do you want? What's going to drag you there? So there's this organic part of it where the way we get better is just because of the people who are saying yes to it too. So I'm excited for year 5. I'm excited for year 10. That's where I'm looking.
Absolutely. Well, like, and I just want to give a moment just to let me give you a moment to shout out all the amazing team that you do have. Because we've encountered all of them or most of them, whether it be at pickup or anything else, even one of my favorite conversations when I do get to drop Ethan off is with the security guard out front, that quick, when I'm sitting there dropping him off for a couple minutes, like, it's just, I don't know, man. It's just every time I leave there to go home and kick off the rest of the day, it's just like you just leave in like a good mood. The culture is incredible. So talk to me a little bit about the team, where they came from. I miss a bunch of them.
Yes, absolutely. We have a wonderful team. So we do have a private security guard at each campus. They're there half an hour before the kids get there, half an hour afterwards, and they're patrolling the parking lot. And the way they interact with students has been just one of the sweetest parts. In fact, our elementary campus, we had a dress up day to dress up as him on his birthday. All the kids wore sunglasses and a little badge sticker. Very, very cute. So we have wonderful program directors, campus directors, one for our Tuesday, Thursday elementary, one for Monday, Wednesday elementary, and then our upper grade director. Amy and Trent Meng run Monday, Wednesday for us, and Lauren Jones runs our Tuesday, Thursday program. We have our elective program director. We have our director of operations, who's kind of my right-hand gal in a lot of things. Last year, we had a vice president that was with us. He recently stepped away. So we're just kind of figuring out how to absorb all the roles and making sure we can make the best use of it. We have a director of education for each campus level, so K to 6 all the way 7 to 12. And then we have a great infrastructure. Our directors of education both have lead teachers that kind of either are subject specific or, 1 or 2 grade level specific that are teacher support. All in all, we have over 75 staff members. So it's a well-organized web of success.
Man, when you got any organization, entity or business with 75 people, that's big.
Yeah.
Think if there was 75 people in a photo, think about how many people that is. I mean, it's awesome. It's bigger than a football team.
Yeah.
And that football team is massive when you look at that photo. Well, I want to talk about our experience just a little bit. And it's the biggest thing for us, and it's kind of the biggest pain point that I coach my son's travel baseball team. Rhiannon's involved in all things that the kids do. For him, the biggest pain point we hear is like they go to school all day long, then they got their extracurriculars. When they get home, then they got more school they got to do. It's hard to be well-rounded.
Yeah.
There, it's harder to be well-rounded there, and so time. We base everything on an ROI, and I'm not anti-college if the college has a purpose, right? So a lot of people ask me that. How you feel about college? I'm like, well, 4 years and X amount of dollars. If you remove school from it, what's the return on investment?
Yeah.
Right. How do you know that was time and money well spent? And I ask Ethan's baseball team the same thing. I ask all those players, like, how do you decide what was a good season or not? Because there's 15 of you or 14 of you, and there's 14 different opinions, right? So are we making the decisions based on the same on the same basis? And then the next question I want to ask these kids is, what's the one thing that you alone bring to this group of people? And most of them have to really think hard about that. But like if you can teach somebody how to do that, it's life-changing, right? I want to thank all of our loyal fans that spread across all 50 states and 14 different countries. It's absolutely amazing. Folks, help us keep spreading the word, right? Share your favorite episodes with friends and make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the Hitstreak on all digital platforms. Thanks again, and we look forward to more. For us and for Ethan, the biggest differentiator is time. It's time because, like you said before, he's on campus 2 days a week, but he's got the other 3. So like today, he's literally, as we're sitting, he's literally at home doing his schoolwork. And while everybody else is still in school, he's done with his schoolwork and he gets to start working on baseball. He gets to start working on his music and he gets to work out and do his weight training and his speed training and all those things. And it's like, at the end of the day, the gift of time, like time is the only currency that we like invest, yet we don't know the current balance, at the end of the day. And the worst thing that you can do with time is waste it. So your model in the hybrid school, for us, it gave us so much time, not just for our kid to invest in himself, but when we get home, we get to spend it with him now. Right. And it's been life-changing. Rhiannon, talk to me a little bit about the difference maker for time. When it comes to like Ethan and his model. We can't wait for Ansley she's almost there too, right? So she's coming right around the corner. Talk to me about time with Ethan.
I think one of the biggest is just not having homework after school, being in school for 7 hours and then coming home with homework. Sure, you're going to have homework if you don't manage your time properly and do your assignment list, but you just get that evening time back. There's no homework. A lot of the times Ethan's like, my friends are home, but I got at least an hour before I can play with them because they got school. I mean, he is even trying to recruit some of his friends. He's like, can you please call their mom? They need to get out of the public school system, Like he's like as much as a cheerleader about it because he knows how much time he's getting back and how much it saved him from not having homework every single night and being able to invest himself in other places, music and sports. So.
Yeah. Well, there's 2 perspectives. There's the parent's perspective and there's the child's perspective, right? So let's talk to the parents for a minute, Amanda. Because that was my first question. We're going to do this hybrid school. I'm like, well, what do we got to do? Yeah. What does that mean for us?
Yeah.
Right? Do we have the time to do that? And it's really not a lot. Well, I don't do it, so I can say that. But talk to me a little bit about, Amanda, about from the parent's perspective. Like what's required of them? What do they need to know? Is there any resources they can check out?
Absolutely. We're big on accountability. So really what we're asking is this partnership feels like a give and take. I personally have a passion point for people accomplishing work in the way they feel led to with their student in front of them. Like you mentioned, kids are so different. I say a lot. I have 4 different kids. I could pick 4 different language arts curriculums based off of how their brain works and how they're going to learn to read. But at the end of the day, it makes more sense for me to know a book and understand what the concept is asking and then teach in the way they're going to learn. So we are really big into accountability, meaning if this worksheet that's assigned covers, a letter blend on learning to read, we don't care how you do it. Your kid can be jumping on a trampoline. You could be making it out of, magnetic letters, or you could be writing it on the worksheet because some kids really enjoy that. It's about getting the work done. The same thing goes for kids at Ethan's age, right? I like to say a lot, we create independent workers, self-starters, hard workers. Those are the lenses I look through for my own kids. You can take that and apply it in any trade, any career. It gives you a lifelong skill to say, have your eyes open, what needs to be done. It's great. We have a lesson plan. So there's like a list. There's the 5 little boxes they can check off, right? But even in 4th grade, my daughters were doing that. So from a young age, we're teaching them, this is the column of work that needs to be done. And I can make my own list and I can check off what's being told of me. I know how to do it. And so I can feel that sense of accomplishment. That's how you buy back the time, really. He knows what's expected of him. So as a parent, we can be busy in the character training part, right? Like I have a kid that doesn't like math. It's not that she's not good at it. She doesn't like it. So sometimes my job is to compromise so I'm not breaking her spirit, right?
Absolutely.
I'm going to circle every other problem on the page so that you can come out a winner. Other times my job is to press in a little bit to her character. Listen, I know you don't like to do this. This is the work for the day. We're going to do it well, right? We're going to accomplish it well. And everyone has parts of their job that's just the work. You feel the work. So it depends on the kid and it depends on what they want. But by 7th grade, my daughter is highly independent. It becomes a totally different experience in these upper grades in a beautiful way where we are getting to experience them as these budding independent people. We're getting ready to launch them into the world. There's not that much time left. They're practicing all these adult decisions. They really feel like an adult, even though they're not there yet. And so my heart for Vine is that we would be this soft place to land where they can try on these parts of their personality and maybe make mistakes, or try on these parts of their independence and overlook something and you get kind of a poor score. And then I ask my daughter, what are we going to do about this together? Want me to email the teacher? Do you want to talk to your teacher? Do we need to change it? Do we let it rest? And so there's so much opportunity in them when you look at the full picture of the full person down the road. When she's 30, when she's an adult or a mom or deciding education things for her own family, I'm hoping that she'll feel more equipped because of the time we spent making these decisions in advance.
I love that. Man, it's like, you said Buy Back the Time. It's one of our favorite books by the great Dan Martell. We love that book, right? Such a great thing. So we've taught one of the ways that, when you're working on with a teenage boy, accountability on like the smallest things, like what food goes in which trash can, and toilet seats and all those things, But the one skill set that I really struggled with, I went to a lot of school. I went to school forever for like 20 years. It seemed like it almost was 20 years, like 3 presidential election cycles is my terms, right? So, but learning to manage his time. So he's been time blocking for a couple of years. He does it every night. We call it his power list, and he writes down all of his critical tasks and maps them out. So like, can you imagine if 5 days a week it was just he woke on his power list, it said school, and it just all the way down the day, and he was done time blocking for the day, and now he gets to, he's the first chance I got to hit the snooze button, I did it, and I was like 20 something years old. I was like, that was great. That was great, but it didn't serve me. It was a poor choice. But for 20 something years, I was told when and where to be, and I had no say in it. So, and the being around some of the most successful people that we've been around, the biggest thing that I see with them is how they manage their time. Like they're really, really good at it, right? So, Riri, what from your perspective, what are some of the things that mean the most to you, and what questions do you have for Miss Amanda? I'd love to hear from you a little bit more.
Well, to kind of start the story, I used to want to open a school. That was like, Nick would always be like, why, what are we doing this for? Why are we, working 10 to 12 hours a day to start this business? Like, I would love to be able to open a school. And after a while, and then 2020 happened, it's, no, okay, I just want to support a school. And it took when we found Vine, the biggest part of me that supported is just the fact that the faith base, and it comes from those values of, setting that foundation in them, even at kindergarten, all the way up to where Ethan is, that is their first class every day, that every day he has a Bible in his backpack. That is so important to me. And then, even going to the chapel it's like one of my favorite days. Sometimes we don't make it because we have a daughter that has to be at school, but when we do, I always end up, needing Kleenex like every single time. And it's just to be able to see all of those children, like those 7th through 12th graders, just worshiping together and high-fiving and thinking it's cool. I mean, that's a revelation in itself, like, right? Like, when does that happen? And the time is huge. And, even my daughter, like, can she go 4 days? She's redhead, let's just say that. And she likes structure, and she loves to be around people all the time. Like, she would love 4 days, but I'm just so excited to continue that with her as well. And again, the time, there's nothing like that. And just the teachers, they're fantastic. I mean, Ethan absolutely loves those teachers, like, so much. Like, he talks about them nonstop. So
I'm so glad.
The Hitstreak is powered by our partners at HitLab Creative Studios. Whether it's launching your brand new podcast, rebranding your current podcast, or taking advantage of any of their other content packages specifically for your social media needs, the HitLab is a one-stop shop for you. Visit hitlabstudio.com for more. I want to make sure everybody understands what you just said, right? So talking about the chapel thing, because that was like one of the coolest things is, Ethan gets to play the drums in chapel at school. We get to go. Mm-hmm. We get to go join them, and we sit in the back and watch everything about it. And it's like, that's a cool thing. I'm here. I want everybody to know you heard that right? So talk to me about where that idea came from, Amanda.
Yeah, chapel's a huge, huge part of our culture. We host it once a month at the elementary campus and once a month in Upper. And we've actually just started this year having the student worship leaders come down and serve on the elementary campuses as well. I feel like that's so powerful for these little kids to see these high schoolers that are leading them in worship. So huge, huge part of our vision. But chapel is where we give each student a character award, and we feel like parents should be exposed to that. We want them to see the culture we're growing at Vine. It's a big peek in the window of, humanizing the educators. These are not just emails that are passing back and forth. They're people, and they're people that are speaking life into your student. I especially think in the upper grades, we have these 5 different educators on their, in their track or their classroom. 5 different voices, 5 different opinions, 5 different stories with the Lord. And they're going to just continue to impart that. We take a lot of intentional time over the summer, cultivating our staff and training them and saying, this is what it looks like to stand as Vine. We're not just teachers, we are mentors. And we're mentors to the parents too, especially in the younger grades. Like you mentioned, you have a strong-willed little one. Yeah, that's half the kids, right? And so it's like, sometimes it's just rubbing a back and calming a mom down off the ledge at pickup. It's going to be all right. Tomorrow's going to be okay. You can do it. And that's part of the job too. We really do feel like this is a second set of eyes on your kid, another voice that you're going to trust. And we take that so, like, it's such a big thing for us to say, you guys as parents are putting your kids in our care. You're trusting the voice that's going to speak over them. I'm also really inspired that, we're a melting pot of churches and backgrounds. We say very clearly, we're not an outreach school. We're a discipleship model. We're waiting for people walking with the Lord to enter the messy places with us, especially in teenagers, but all levels. I've had so many conversations about parents that do Santa Claus and parents that don't.
Yeah.
They're just in class together.
That's right.
Believing or not believing. So, there's things at every age group. Same thing with older kids and cell phones. Some families do cell phones, some not yet, and passionate, big feelings about it. And we always point it back to, at the end of the day, these kids are the Lord's and they're yours, and you can put the lens on the technology or the Santa Claus, whatever way you want, but we're called to honor one another. So what does that look like here with our differences in this setting? And that's our goal. It's challenging, but it's worth fighting for. And I think that chapel is an extension of that. Our culture and our classrooms are an extension of that.
One thing that I'm hearing that I wanted to point out as well sometimes to make change it can take forever.
Yeah.
Especially when the government's involved, because there's so many checks and balances. And you guys are able to grow. I think a lot of your growth model can go back to the fact that you guys can make decisions and make change at a lightning pace. As a matter of fact, that was what our friends at NASA told us about Elon back in the day with SpaceX. They're like, dude, he can just get things done so much faster than we can because he don't have to go through the decision-making process that we have to go through. That is massive.
Yeah.
That is massive. Talk to me about so when you guys are making, let's say it's I don't know how you could change too much from what you're doing right now because it's really good. But when you want to make changes, talk to me about what that process looks like a little bit.
Well, I'm a very collaborative and conversational leader in general. So our leaders as a team, we kind of steal away a couple times a year on a retreat. Just to offer ourselves time to work where we don't feel guilty. Almost all of us we're not necessarily breadwinners. We're working moms, working parents. There's a couple guys on our team that they split their time between, another ministry and us. But really what we want is dedicated time to talk through these elements. For our curriculum specifically, the books we use, we have a curriculum committee and we do that on purpose. It's headed by our director of education for each campus level, but then it's going to be people in the classroom or people we know that are parents in the program, but they used to be classroom teachers or just moms that have been homeschooling for a long time and homeschooling different age levels of kid. And so we're looking for our lesson plans. We're looking through the lens of, will this work if I have 4 kids and there's only one of them that's doing this book? Or is it too much of a burden as a parent to try and stretch my time between this and that? Or does this translate well to a 2-day setting with a different teacher on these 2 days and me at home 3 days? So there's a lot that goes into it. And some of it is just opinion based, but we really do try to be an echo of what our community wants. Every year at the beginning of the year, we host a feedback night for parents as well. What's working, what's not. And we do that privately for staff in advance too. Hey, what's working, what's not. We want to be open to shifts because that stuff matters. Oh, wow. Like I said, we're serving the community that we're a part of too. We are all peer leaders. Every single one of us has kids in the community as well. So I'm very aware that I'm affected with my 4 kids. If we make a decision that doesn't sit well with me as a campus leader, I'm reaping the fruit of that as a mom.
That's right.
So we really, really try to have a posture of respect and humility when it comes to shaping campus stuff. It matters.
Well, there's a company called Chick-fil-A that has been raved about for their organizational model. They've been able to do things that other competitors that have not been able to do. Specific, like when I think of Chick-fil-A, what's impressive to me is the drive-through, right? Well, you guys whoop their behinds when you drop your kids off and pick them up. It's just better. And honestly, when I saw that, I was like, man, they got it all the way. It spills outside the organization and everything. It's because I have to drive through past 2 schools to get to that campus. And I'm in and out of that whole entire spot faster than I can get through one school zone. You know what I mean? It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So, all right. So I'm going to tee something up real quick before I give out some URLs and stuff. Okay. So I'm about to turn it over to the ladies over here. I've asked a lot of some decent questions, I would say, but I really want to I kind of just want to be a fly on the wall and let y'all go about all the impact that it's made, the decisions you want to make moving forward. There's a lot of things that I want to make sure that you're here today. This is your episode, and whatever it is that you need people to hear, I want to make sure we get that out today. It's really important. Okay, so if you're waiting on me to ask you, one of the coolest things when people say, "Actually, Nick, I want to talk about X." Okay, so you bring it. But folks, we're hanging out with the founder of Vine Christian Academy, Amanda Auer. Check him out on Instagram at Amanda Auer. That's AMANDA. AUER and at vine.christian. Vinechristian.com is the URL. And folks, if you want to help out, you can simply go there and donate, right? Click that button. Click those buttons. Send them some funds because they're doing great things with it, right? So, all right, ladies. Rhea, how do you want to start this? We can have a little bit of fun today, right? So, and Amanda, you got anything specific? Because she came here, she's so awesome. She's like, I have no agenda. And I'm like, well, I do. I do. We definitely have an agenda for bringing you here because people need to know about this. I think that's the biggest thing that we're doing today is there's so many great folks in this town that still don't know that this model that this is even an option, right? So, Rhiannon, what you got here? I'm putting you on the spot. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Yeah.
Well, listen, y'all. Y'all bring it. Talk to her a little bit about value. What we got?
Yeah, most people that I was saying this earlier, there's, what I do for a living, I get a lot of people that move from different states, specifically California and New York, where the freedom to have this option is not available to them. And so when they move here, the first thing they ask, is, well, where do you send your kids to school? And when I say Vine, well, we're on the wait list, So I think that is a big thing right now, even in local Facebook groups, how quickly can it grow? Like, how much faster can you make more room? Because so many parents really want to, grab this lifestyle and let it make them thrive. So, that's probably the biggest question I get is, can you, how quickly can I get in? So what does that look like for next year?
That is the question of the hour.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We know that, we're pretty darn full. We're pretty full all the way up through the grades. We had a hugely high retention rate after this re-enrollment round, over 90% Vine wide, but the elementary campuses were 90, 94, 95. So just really super high, in a beautiful way. And we're grateful for it. We are intentionally growing our Tuesday, Thursday upper grade campus because right now we only have elementary those days up through 6th grade. And we just want to serve more families. But really, we're looking for potentially a third location, a third church partner that would partner with us. Right now, we're hosted from our elementary in Brentwood, and then about 15 minutes away is our upper grade campus in Franklin. And we're just trying to figure out where to go next because, when we were part of this national program, we watched it kind of grow pretty broadly, pretty quickly. And so I've seen a lot of what not to do. And I am just aware of all the pitfalls I could make myself under the guise of that too, calling it wisdom, right? And so I really just want to protect Vine so that we know where we're at and we can rock steady for a while. But one of the things we are intentionally doing is we are promoting our All at Home program, which has served as an active wait list for families who can't get a spot yet. Basically looks like a kid doing all 5 days a week of our work at home. And then sometimes they want a campus setting. Sometimes they actually feel like, what they love is sleeping in every day, or they like going at their own pace, or they live a little bit too far, especially the years where you're a young mom and there's a lot of people to get into a car for a drop off. It doesn't necessarily serve them. So that feels like more of a structured element that's more the essence of homeschooling long term. We're growing up and offering that side of the program nationally. It's called Vineyard. We're focusing on that. And then, we're not against the idea of having another campus, just want it to be well done and want it to be rightly done. We probably could fill it. At this point in the year, we probably could fill it pretty easily. We're just waiting for, the right proximity, the right church partner.
And I appreciate the slow growth, but the growth, because like you said, if you just react and start doing what it did, it may not go right because you didn't have the time to collaborate with your teams and make all those right decisions to put everybody in a place to succeed. So I'm really thankful for that.
Well,
I do have a question, like how many students are now enrolled for 25, 26 roughly?
Well, I can tell you right now we have just over 600.
That's
so
awesome.
We have about 615 this current academic year. We haven't started our admissions process for 25-26 yet, just because of the sheer amount of siblings we're trying to accommodate getting in, which is a beautiful gift. Watching people, now I'm going to enroll my 10th grader, or I brought over my 8th grader, but now I'm going to bring over my 6th grader. It's a beautiful gift when we can do that, but we're trying to piece things together a little bit still. So we haven't started that process. I would say we actually feel like a really sweet spot for a community is between 200 and 220. We don't really want to grow bigger than that if we don't have to. So 200 to 220, Monday, Wednesday through 6th grade. Same for Tuesday, Thursday through 6th grade. And then same for Monday, Wednesday, 7th to 12th. So our goal would be to offer that Tuesday, Thursday, 7th to 12th. And then maybe nap.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. No, we know there's always going to be huge onboarding ages. We see the most interest in the younger grades and the middle school grades. So, younger is people who are full of optimism and want to try something different. And middle school grades usually means something's not going well. So we're just trying to meet the need and be a soft place to land.
Well, and you do all of those things extremely well. So, again, we love it. I'm glad we got in before the rush, so to speak. So,
The Hitstreak is powered by Team Hyder. Team Hyder has been serving you for 11 years and has racked up over 20 national and local awards for excellence in all areas. When it comes to finding the right health plan, We need to consider your family's needs and your family's budget. That's what we do to serve you. To look further and to book an appointment, visit teamhider.com. I have a couple of other questions as well. So you mentioned there's two things I want to talk about for sure, and I'm going to say them now so I don't forget, right? Because I'm going to do that. But so I want to hear about the Vineyard, all right? And then one of the most common questions is like, all right, well, like, man, if they go to that school, they're gonna they won't be able to play on the sports teams or all the extracurricular stuff, right? So we're gonna dive into that as well. So, but the Vineyard, talk to me a little bit about the Vineyard.
So our Vineyard program is, we've said before, it's an active wait list, but that's kind of bit me in the buns because we haven't had any campus movement this year. So in the past, you have a class of about 20 kids and you'll say, okay, we'll have 2 or 3 that are on the wait list. We ask them to invest in the curriculum and they're using our lesson plans. Then they have ability to come to things like chapel and be a part of a worship team if they wanted to, or come to our VO, which is our elective program, those classes, come to our field trips. They're in the community. They're just all at home because there's not a classroom seat. So what we did this year is we had one of our teachers take on being a Vineyard director. So she's just a director of the program. They're cultivating their own Facebook page. They have their own meetups for schoolwork. In fact, I think they're at a local coffee shop right now. She's that second set of eyes, helping talk moms down off the ledge if they need it, just supporting them and offering, some friendship opportunities. Our hope and goal is to actually move her out of the classroom. She would be full-time Vineyard next year where she can truly be dedicated, make sure that these lesson plans really are dialed in and make sense for the at-home setting, treating the parents like these, co-educators and speaking life and strength into them, knowing the kids, really just investing in what this program looks like on a national model if we can. If people want to, move away and still use our program, which we've seen twice now, it's great. What a gift. We just want to be able to be a resource for them. So, Vineyard is one very natural way we can expand and we just want to steward it well. Yeah. So we're just rocking and rolling with that.
Absolutely. I mean, all growth has to be managed to a certain degree, and it's, and to be able to keep the quality, to manage those expectations. One of the worst things you can do is lose the quality of what you're doing because you grew too fast. Right. Yeah. So, I totally respect that. Talk to me a little bit about the sports and other extracurriculars. So, because one of the cool things is as schools like this, as programs like this are popping up, well, guess what? Some sports programs are also starting to pop up as well to support those, even though the ones that were already intact can still serve those students, right? Talk to me a little bit about the biggest questions you get with sports. I'm sure you get them all the time.
I do. I get them all the time. I have a huge passion for sports. I really, honestly, I think my passion is more like I want homeschoolers to have the same access to the same opportunities, especially like you mentioned, you were talking about Ethan being able to practice baseball at 10 a.m. What a luxury and a gift that it's not at his exhausted part of his day where he's just run down. So I have a huge passion for it. I'm trying not to run after everything all the time, but I really want to. But I was just in a meeting last week with an athletic director that was talking about what could it look like to offer sports, not just to Vine, but beyond that to the homeschooling community. Because I would say the biggest barrier we see, mostly with public schools, is that you can play for the school you're zoned for. That's the law. But if you don't have a relationship with the coaches, or let's say 120 people try out and they're going to take 30, what are the odds? Right?
And do they? A lot of times they might recruit from the school campus first before they.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It's about relationship with the school and the dynamic, and so they just not get picked last. But sometimes that seems to be the essence.
Okay.
So if we're all, from different backgrounds and doing different things, then it can just be an organic team of people who are really interested in this. And that's really what we're exploring, being like kind of that banner under the name of Vine, that homeschoolers can come and you have this team dynamic and you can practice, you can get better at the sports you want to excel at and go forward from there.
There's Ethan plays for the Knights Academy team and Jason Anderegg heads that up. He does a phenomenal job, and quite honestly, as an 8th grader, he got to get a lot of varsity reps last year, which was unbelievable, and it was so important for his development. And Anderegg is a guy that played Division I baseball and professional baseball. And a lot of your middle school coaches didn't have that experience. That was my biggest thing is, he needs to be learning from somebody that did it at an extremely high level, so that's but those, our summer program is the Midland program. So I would encourage the guys from Midland, why don't you have an academy team? You know what I mean? Let's do this. Because we already have all the swag and the gear, but we're very happy with the Knights and those, but I would encourage all the cheer squads all the baseball, basketball, soccer, hockey, even football.
Yeah.
They could be having the same type of academy programs because it's just an extension of what you're already doing,
Exactly.
right? And you have facilities in place and coaches that usually need more. So it's ripe for the picking, right? What do you think,
The
Rhea?
time is right. It's only going to get bigger. The options for the kids wanting to come into those sports and those programs, it's just going to grow. I mean, just as much as the school's growing, the options to have those available to those students is going to grow over and over and over. So, opportunity, sports people.
Yeah, and a lot of questions is, where do they practice? They don't have any fields. Well, they practice when the kids are in school on the school fields. And Ethan even they get to work out at Belmont at Rose Park, and he's getting to practice on college campuses and go to JUCOs and play. I mean, the experience is unparalleled. It truly is. So from an athletic standpoint, I feel like we even got an upgrade there.
Yeah.
We got an upgrade on the education, the campus, and the sports even up to this point, right? So it's just been a beautiful experience for us.
I'm so glad. Yeah, I really do feel like sports is a way we can just continue to serve more homeschoolers because, the campuses, we only want to get so big. We don't want to dilute what the community is offering and the culture there. But sports is like, come one, come all. Come be interested in this and make a friend organically that's going to matter. And it doesn't matter to me. Some parents are really passionate about being home all 5 days a week or making sure they have that, core work that they want to do at home their way. That's great. Some of them, especially professional education background, I feel like they have a real passion point for it. I care more that their kid can come and make friends and have the true meaning of community and that we can uphold that standard we want to. We have them sign a code of conduct. That stuff matters. Now you're entering into like a common playing field of expectation with parents, right? Seeing eye to eye. And we all want our kids to have good sportsmanship. We all want our kids to excel at what they're good at and move their body, right? We do have a lot more downtime. So let's be intentional about the way we move our body. But sports just feels like such a natural extension of what we want to do while we support the community with open arms. I'm very excited about the future of it.
You said something that made me think the way that the focus is community first and then the academics, in the public school system, I feel like that's where they started, but everyone got so far into standardized test. What does this person test? And you lost the community. So I think it's such a brilliant thing to focus on community. And then if you have good structure and community, then these kids will probably want to do better at their academics and their sports and their other things. So again, just a big shout out for that because it makes a difference.
Absolutely. And then I gotta shout out your family. You got four kids. You're a musician's wife.
I am.
All right. So needless to say, taking on something like this, it's a household project.
Yeah.
Okay. So I wanted just to give you a moment to recognize those at home that help bring this home, to make this happen. You know what I mean? So go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. My husband actually was a touring musician when we met in high school. And so he actually just stepped off the road. He was playing with Phil Wickham for about 10 years.
Wow.
Stepped off the road when the summer we started Vine. He was like, I'm going to do it temporarily. And now he hasn't gone back. But he's, primarily a songwriter, which is funny because, we're both so entrepreneurial. He's a youngest, I'm a youngest. We're very, there's a lot of mess there that happens. We're not that type A, like one size fits all personality by any means, but there's so much opportunity for our kids to learn what it looks like to be self-motivated and self-started because of it. And yeah, we have 4 little ones. My youngest is in 1st grade this year. He's 6 years old. And then we have 3 girls, 2 that are in 4th grade and 1 that's in 7th grade. And it has been a full community effort. It's so funny. Obviously, my oldest still thinks this is cool that I do this job. I don't know if that will persist, but that's where she's at now. I have to watch pretty carefully about which kids of mine rule the roost on campus. Think that they can make all the rules and go into the staff room and have snacks. I'm like, okay, not right now. And that's part of the character training part too. But they really do love it. And if I wasn't reaping the benefit of it at the personal level, of course, I don't think I could keep doing it. It's not just a job to me. It's out of the overflow of our heart. And so you want it to be good at every level for everyone. One of my favorite things, my husband is such a support person. He is like hands and feet support. His love language is acts of service. And one of the things he did to get our campus going was he was single-handedly setting up and tearing down our campus every single week for the first 3 years.
Wow.
We got him some help here and there aligned, but like that's just the way that he was going to love what we were doing and saying yes to it beside us. So I'm grateful he's out from under that now, because obviously it's not his primary job. It was just, hey, this is what needs to be done and we want to do it. We want to do it well. We want to respect our church partners. But yes, it's absolutely a full family event. We all really believe in what we're doing, which helps.
And again, you mentioned your church partner. I would encourage churches out there, especially Middle Tennessee, man. Like you can give. Like this is it's a great partnership. It's a great relationship. If you need help, I'm sure. I mean, they got a working model. I'm sure they can help you out, right? Mm-hmm. Amanda, as I kind of bring the sucker to a close. So first of all, Rhiannon, is there anything else that you wanted to ask Miss Amanda? I got one final question for her that I'm gonna wait till the end. Anything else that we didn't cover? Amanda, how are we doing? You're
doing great.
Yeah, man. I want to make sure you get it all out there, right?
Yeah.
So is there anything else that we missed? Anything you can think of?
Not at the moment. No.
I give myself an A+, baby. I love it.
Later on tonight when I'm laying in bed and all my thoughts are gathering, I'm like, man, I wish I would have asked that. But at this time, no. Yeah. So if I randomly reach out, it's like, oh, I should have asked this. Yeah.
Well, I got two questions. Then one, I'm going to have to bring you back for what she thinks of later today.
Okay,
so I'll have to bring you back a second time. So I'm going to go ahead and get a commitment on that today. Awesome.
Wonderful.
And then this is for real, right? So Amanda, what's your biggest ask that you need of the community, that you need? Obviously donations is huge. Yeah. It takes money to operate. It takes money to get the right people. It takes money to get the things that you need. But outside of that, what's your biggest ask?
So really right now, gosh, the big prayer for us is we're just trying to figure out what the right path is. I'm looking for clarity and I'm praying for wisdom. And I just have been praying like, Lord, warm my heart to the direction I'm supposed to take. Cause I'm really good at running after things, especially when I have a goal in mind. And our goal is to grow up this Tuesday, Thursday program. Right now we have a little bit of a barrier at our current church location. It's a financial barrier. We want to make sure that we're stewarding it well. And so I'm looking and wondering, okay, do we go through this financial barrier and just trust that you're going to provide? Or do we look for a third location that would actually serve us, potentially better long-term, or just the same long-term, and it would just be a shift in our mindset? Or do we do a total different option, which would be a smaller facility that could kind of give us flexibility in different ways? And of course, all of it's tied to money, but more than that, it's tied to how can we be obedient stewards of what we've been given? Because this is such a gift. It's a huge gift for us to have these 600 kids. We made a joke last year when we started. When we first opened our doors of enrollment, it was almost teetering on 400. And one of our team members said, if we get the finances of 500 kids, we can kind of do whatever we want, which I'm going to take a line like that and I'm really going to run with it.
Yeah,
we got a lemonade truck the first day of school. We got a coffee cart for parents. We're just going to keep delighting people. Mm-hmm. We're going to take care of our staff generously, and we're not misusing funds by any means. We just really feel like we're called to care for the people that serve us well. I know that these teachers are caring well for our students. And so I want to care for them well, but now we're over 600 kids. So I don't know. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. And I call it Tiny Delights. We'll buy the staff coffee, little tiny delight. I did that on the way here today. And we just really want to continue to do that, continue to bless people and pour into the community. Mm-hmm. And like I said, okay, well, if I can't make bigger communities because that doesn't feel right, then nobody knows anyone, right? Then how can I make more communities? Or am I supposed to do that? Like, Lord, where is it you want us to grow forward from? So that's really what it is. We're just praying for discernment. We're praying for the right funding, for the right to go towards the right efforts. Mm-hmm. And, that's our hope. That's our hope.
Wow. Well, this has been everything that I thought it would be. What do you think, Rhee?
I agree.
And this is actually fun fact. This is the first time we ever shook your hand. I met you face to face for the first time today.
Oh,
and
I love that.
And you do phenomenal. Not everybody's comfortable when you put them in the chair and the lights come on and everything else. And you're a natural at this.
Well,
and
thank you.
Awareness is everything. Awareness is everything. So people can't help you if they don't know you're there and everything else. So that was my goal today, is just I'm just amazed at how many people, even the Williamson County Entrepreneur Center, it's like there's so many dots to connect. And when we do, it's going to change the whole landscape of kids' education and growth, man.
So good.
So I'm so excited about it. So Amanda, any final thoughts as we bring it to a close?
That's it. I just, for any of the people that are teetering on the edge of homeschooling, you can do it. I'm really a proponent of that. And, we believe in people starting communities, just like I started a community in our area. We actually have a plan to support that if that was ever interesting for people. We just have a heart to serve homeschooling families. We want it to feel possible. So that's where we're at.
The Hitstreak is powered by Rack Financial. When it comes to your credit card merchant processing, Rack Financial is efficient, reliable, and trusted. At the end of the day, when it comes to processing your credit card payments, they make it simple, the way it's supposed to be. Check out Rack Financial. Love it, folks. We're hanging out with Amanda Auer, the founder of Vine Christian Academy. VineChristian.com is the website. Go there and donate. Check them out on Instagram, vine.christian and at Amanda Auer. Amanda, it's been an honor and a pleasure to have you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Folks, thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Hitstreak. I'm your man, Nick Hyder. God bless.